Welcome to the Glam Life Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Rocca. You might know me as Victoria Glam if you follow me over on Instagram, which you totally should. And you can follow this podcast itself at the Glam Life Podcast. And today I have someone who's probably got a very familiar voice to you. If you haven't actually heard him speaking before, you've certainly heard his opinions and seen his qualifications all over your favorite Facebook groups. You guys, meet my friend, Texas De La Rosa. Hi, Texas.
Hi,
Thanks
how
for
are
being here.
you? I thank you for having me. I love that you rolled those R's.
Oh, baby, I'll roll it on.
That is amazing. I love it because my last name, people tend to like get mixed up with it. And they said like it's funny how some people think that Della is my middle name and that Rosa is like my last name. And so I'm like, no, that's not what it is. But yeah, it's great that you said it just right.
Your first name throws me more than your last name. De La
Really?
Rosa, De La Hoya, like I've
Oh
heard those
yeah, yeah,
names, but I've
yeah.
not Texas as a first name. I know there was like Tex Watson, right? We don't want to talk about
Yeah.
him, murderer. But that's the only time I've heard the name Texas. And then you do live in Texas.
I do. I'm from West Texas, but I've been in the southern part of Texas in the Austin area for the past 24 years. So yeah.
I have some cousins who live out in Austin and two sisters. They didn't move there together, separately. One came from San Francisco, one came from here, and they absolutely love it. But I know that Texas has become a melding pot. This is where
Yeah.
lots of people come to be themselves and who they are and express their opinions. So I feel like it's the perfect place for Texas De La Rosa because you certainly have a lot of opinions.
I do. I do. I love to share them. That's what I have my hashtag Texas shares. I mean, I've done that for I don't know how many, over 10 years, maybe 12, 14, 15, somewhere in there years. I've been using Texas shares. And yeah, that's why I started that hashtag was because I like to share everything. I think that's how we learn. That's how we find out things that we enjoy in life. That's how we find things that we don't like. I mean, if we
Yeah.
I share things that I don't like too. I'm like, hey, I hated that pasta. That was crap. Don't buy that. Or like, buy this brand, so I started that for a reason. So yeah.
So, Texas, you have been in the beauty industry for a solid 20 years, right?
Yeah, over 20 years now. So I started in the beauty industry, honestly, when I was about 19, doing makeup and not professionally, obviously. I was just kind of playing with it. And it turned into like a profession, just as most things do when you're a creative. You don't really look for the job. Like I had a job that was
Yeah.
paying the bills and doing what I wanted to do, but it was monotonous. I hated it. And so I went up doing other things and it just kind of all these things just kind of fell in my lap. And so the beauty industry was something that I didn't even realize that I could be good at or make money in because I came from a very small town. Doing makeup in my small town was like Merle Norman, like down the street. It was like, the old ladies getting their hair done and their makeup done. And so growing up, I never thought, oh, a makeup artist could make money and be, have survive and make a living. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
How'd you make that leap? How'd you figure out, wait, I can make a career out of this?
Honestly, the story is kind of crazy. I'll just condense it so it's not super long.
We have a whole hour, Tex.
I know, but it's a long story. But bottom line is, I have a good friend of mine who is a makeup artist in Houston, and he is always been someone who gives back. And I learned a lot from him, especially with that his kind of philanthropy and what he does for people. And he's already was established makeup artist, hairstylist, and he was offering his time to the Austin Battered Women's Shelter for an event, and it was at the Houston Tertillion College. And I think I was like maybe 19, 20, something, maybe 20, 21, somewhere in that range. And I was very young and I went to help him as an assistant and just clean his brushes and do whatever. When we get to this facility, there was supposed to be, I guess, a group of makeup artists and no one else showed up. And there were
Oh,
like
shit.
all these companies that like had donated makeup and money and things to help these battered women. And so when we walk in, it was just two of us, and she's like, "Where's the rest of your team?" And he just looks at me and I was like, oh no, oh no. I was like, I am not gonna get beat up by a battered woman because I make her face look crazy. I was like, I'm not, I oil paint, I do acrylics, I don't know face. I was like, I was too nervous to do it because I just played with makeup, I wasn't really like a professional at the time. So yeah, I just kind of set my chair next to his and just would pick up a brush and he'd be like, no, not that one. But okay. So I didn't
No,
even
not that one.
okay. So I just made it work. I totally made it work and nobody was upset with me. It was really great. And then I realized that I can make a difference in how people see themselves. And that was such a impactful day for me to know that, wow, I could do something that would not only feed my creative side and my creative brain, but also, help people that are dealing with trauma or dealing with, I've got this scar on my face now from being in an abusive relationship, or I've got this situation that I don't feel pretty, I don't feel good. And, and not that you need makeup to feel pretty or good, but it does help, right? It helps when you
Yeah,
feel
for
better,
sure.
when you get your hair blown out, when you get your makeup done, even for guys, like just getting something done to make yourself feel better. When you feel better about yourself, I think that the world opens doors more for you versus when you're like closed off, hat on, hoodie kind of covering your face and you don't
Sure.
want to be around people. People tend to leave you alone, right? They just tend to be like, oh, that
They've
person.
done studies on this saying
Yeah,
that if you are prettier, like conventionally prettier, people are kinder to you. People do more favors to you. People will even literally open doors for you, literally open a door and hold the
100%.
door for you. So, yeah, I think that the way that you feel translates into how you present yourself to other people. I totally get that.
Yeah, so that's what happened. I just realized that was a thing, and then, of course, then makeup turned into permanent makeup, and then permanent makeup turned into laser and getting into that world, and then that
Yeah,
kind of turned into medical aesthetics, and then it turned into let's start educating because I didn't feel like there was enough educators that were teaching properly,
sure.
and giving all the ins and outs, and so yeah, so it's been a long, long career.
Yeah, one thing, and then of course, you kind of glossed over this, but you also made a public space for other people to come and safely
Oh,
ask questions and have discourse and also have arguments, big arguments, which I love reading. Tag me in every single line of that.
thank you. Yeah, no, I started CTP, Cosmetic Tattoo Professionals, which I'll say this first on this podcast. So you're getting a little snippet. We're actually
Ooh,
changing the name pretty soon
are
because we're gonna be,
you?
yes, because I and it's gonna be a little controversial, which I thought I would hold off to give it to the your podcast first. I've made little announcements here and there that I'm making some changes, but I haven't said what the changes were gonna be. So I thought, wow, I'll just wait till this podcast. So Cosmetic Tattoo Professionals, when I started CTP back in 2020, it was because of the pandemic, and it was because we couldn't work, and we didn't have, any way to make money and things. And so I was like, gosh, I've got all this information, I've got a camera, I've got, just my brain, and I know there's a load of questions. So I started answering questions, and I started putting those things out there, and from past students and what have you. And then I just kind of opened the group up and was like, let's, make it something that we can have a forum and talk on, because what I have already been in was other groups, but they were so nasty, and there were so many people that
Yeah,
were argumentative and not wanting
yeah.
to help, and not wanting to give you the right information. Like when someone would ask a question, it's like, that's a dumb question, and I hated that because I hated seeing people like
Instructor didn't tell you? Obviously,
yeah,
fucking not.
yes,
Otherwise,
I
I
know.
wouldn't have asked.
Why are all these people getting ripped to shreds for asking, these questions? So I decided to make my own group so that I could monitor it and also give people the real answer, because we all know those instructors out there that don't want to tell you that they're using these products, but they're using these cheap products in their classes. And we've all been there. We know how it is, right? They're like, oh, this machine is the best machine ever. And then you find out it's on Alibaba for like 20 bucks. And they use actually like
Don't
they use,
start it on that fucking
an
machine. Don't get me
expensive,
started
yeah.
on that pin machine. Don't get me
Oh,
started.
yeah, it's so
Like
stupid.
those
So,
screw-in needles, you can see the spring through, like cheaper than
yeah,
my bed, even.
yeah, it's just crazy. So I started CTP, and then, it became a thing where I only let permanent makeup professionals be in it, and
Yeah,
then people were like, well, Texas, because everything has to evolve, right? People were like, well, Texas, I want to be in your group, but I'm not a professional yet. Like I just took a class like 2 or 3 months ago, but I want you to tell me what's going on. And I trust you because I see you in other groups giving good information and not being ugly, not hurting people's feelings, telling people the truth. I mean, some people don't want to hear it. Like I had someone this morning that didn't want to hear it. And I was like, girl, you overworked the skin. I can see it, and she
yeah.
was like, I didn't. My technique was flawless. And I was like, okay, bye. So I don't fight with anybody anymore. I don't
Well,
fight.
then
I'm
you
like,
don't need to come to a Facebook group.
you don't need to, yeah, you don't need the group. So it's funny because I saw that group, and I wanted to change it. And so I was like, okay, let's maybe let new students in and people that are looking to get into the industry in the group. And now the evolution of CTP is that, we've got a lot of people that are changing their methods and how they want to do things. They're wanting to learn more about skin. They're wanting to get better at their craft. I feel that there is a huge shift in the industry with aesthetics, medical aesthetics, and permanent makeup, especially with the paramedical tattooers out there that are dealing with scar tissue, dealing with, the body, and they want to learn. And so what better way to learn than if you go to aesthetic school, or if you're a professional like I am and you work on skin daily with, microneedling and collagen therapy and laser treatments. We need to let those people in the group too, because those are the people that know. It's a
Yeah.
lot of people that don't understand skin, that's why they're messing up. That's why they're making those mistakes, is they're going too deep into the skin, they're overworking the skin, or they don't understand ethnicity and how that changes your thickness of your skin, or melanin rich skin. So I decided that what I want to do is turn CTP into a full-on cosmetic tattoo professional, but also skin specialist professional. So it's going to be like cosmetic, tattoo, and skin professionals. So
Ooh, it's going to be a
yeah,
lot of
so
opinions.
there's going to be a lot of opinions, and there's going to be a lot of some people may leave the group. I had someone leave the group a while back because I was letting students in, and she messaged me and she's like, I'm leaving the group because this was supposed to be for professionals only. And I was like, well, okay, well, I'm sorry that you're leaving. I was like, but I was like, but no one's going to become a professional if they don't learn from great people that are helping them. And I'm here to help. That's what my group's for. So yeah, so
Honestly,
I
everyone has to, right? So yes,
yeah,
she's group was sold to her. This is for tattooing professionals, right?
right,
But it was sold to her for free. So you really shouldn't complain because you do a
right,
lot of work in that group. Adminning a group, if you don't know, adminning a group is a full-time job, just so
yeah,
everybody knows, and you don't get paid for it.
nope,
Secondly, as the starts evolving, because the industry is evolving, there's an influx of students, there's more people who want to be involved, but they have questions, and they've got these fly-by-night trainers because everybody thought, oh, I'll take a online course workshop and learn how to make my own, and what, and they don't know what they're actually doing. They don't understand learning styles. They information out, or they had an incomplete education. They've only been actually on skin for a year now, maybe not even. I've had people in the class say, how do I become an educator? Well, you have to
oh,
learn the thing first, duh, obviously.
yeah,
As we get those people, they need a place to ask questions, or else the actual industry will denigrate. So
right.
the opportunity for the lady who decided to storm out and leave was actually to become a figurehead and an educator, and she could have taken those students under her wing, a la Taryn Darling. When everybody else said no thanks, Taryn Darling said, come to me.
Yep.
And that's why she is who she is. So this lady had short-sighted vision, whoever you were talking to, because
Yeah,
what you're
she
doing is the way of the future.
right. I wished her well, and and I told her, hey, if this
I
isn't
come
good
back.
enough for you, yeah. And hey, that's great. But I do monitor who's in the group, and I make sure that we're giving good information. And you're right, it is a full-time job. It's so crazy. I never
Dude,
thought I would have
it's
over 7,000 people, and I have over 2,000 people trying to get in, but they don't answer the questions, so I don't let them in.
yeah,
So
same.
it's crazy that my group could be even bigger if I let it, but I don't want it to run
It'd
that
be
crazy.
lawless.
Yeah, because it's just
You
nuts. So
have other people helping you admin.
I do have a few, but honestly, it's really just me and my business
Nobody
partner
cares
for
about
the
the wedding
school.
like the bride. Nobody cares about the wedding like the bride does.
Yeah, I tend to
Well,
do the most of it.
have Permanent Excellence, our Facebook group, and it's mostly fed largely by Katie's YouTube and now my YouTube a little bit. And that's the first question is, how did you hear about us? And it's always YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. So these
Very
people are
cool.
unqualified, right? Like I don't know where they came from or what they know or what their training is or what their level. We do ask, are you licensed? How long been licensed? Because we want to keep it to people who actually have an education. Otherwise, it would be a nightmare for us to try, just the two of us to try and figure out, right?
Right.
But even at, we're about to hit 1,000, even at almost 1,000, we bitch to each other all the time. Like, this
Yeah.
place is out of order. We got to get this trailer packed up because this place is
Hmm.
out of order. Like the some of the information that people are giving each other is so wrong that it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like, what happens? Let's
Yeah. It's wild. I see. That's one of the things, I'm so glad that my group is full of a lot of really heavy hitters, like again, like,
yeah,
we have Taryn Darling, we have Jen Boyd, we have Amber Guthrie, we have, Mary Richardson, we have, just all these great people, in our group. And it's so funny because like I see some people that are brand new trying to give information, and I'm like, slow your roll. You haven't even
yeah,
seen your clients healed yet. You just took class 2 weeks ago. Quit. You can't chime in this group yet. Like you need to sit back and watch, let your clients come back in, see how your heal work comes in, and then start giving advice. And I've had to nicely tell a couple of people that, and they were respectful there, and which I think is great, because I think it's all in how you respond to people and how they
sure.
react to you. I'm never ugly with people, but I'm very blunt and I'm very truthful, and I'm like, hey, this is how it works, and if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to leave, but like, this is how I roll, and I don't want the group to get nuts. So yeah, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's a lot of work.
there are a lot of different personalities when it comes to, well, there are a lot of different personalities, period. They're all in a Facebook group together. But when it comes to that person who has been in the field very long and they want to give advice, there's a lot of different facets to why they're doing that. Some of them want to be an educator and they want to start classes and they haven't trained but 6 months if even. And so that person, you got to kind of be like, hey, like a puppy on the nose, calm down, like
Yep.
not yet. But then there are other people who are just trying to be helpful, right? Like I've seen this question asked and answered times, so I know the answer and they're trying to be helpful. There are other people who are just so excited about everything. It's
Right.
almost like you have to be careful how you correct your kids because you don't want to kill their spirit.
For sure.
I'm so bad about this. I'm trying my hardest to parent two little boys. And I find myself a lot of times being very like, no, just let me do it. And that's not how you
Mhm.
learn. Oh, it's
Yeah.
frustrating. So you're doing a lot of work, and now to welcome in an influx of other people, you're
It's
putting a lot on your plate.
It's a lot. It's gonna change a lot of things, but I see it as in my mind where I want this to go is I feel like it's gonna be much better because again, I can't answer all of the questions.
Right?
So I need skin specialists. I need people that aren't just in PMU, aren't just in paramedical, aren't just doing brows to answer these questions about people's skin types and what's wrong with their skin. Obviously, we can't diagnose or things like that. But when we could say, hey, I think this person might have a rosacea, and maybe that's what it is. I've worked on a client like this is what I did, and this is where I think they need to go, versus you're fine. Because I hear that, like when someone's coming
Yeah,
with
you're fine. Just go
crusty
ahead.
skin and the crazy red skin. Oh,
Wait,
they're fine, they're fine.
did you hear, or maybe you even saw it, maybe you were in that group. I don't remember what group it was a few years ago. Shara, from Ink Boutique Houston. Are you guys friendly?
I know who that is. We haven't like spoken in general, but I've heard of
Yeah.
the group.
I've met her once, but this was in a different Facebook group and it was years before I knew her. So I just knew her as Shara Juarez, and that's it. I didn't know what Ink Boutique Houston was. Somebody had posted in a Facebook group, hey, what do you think about me tattooing my? She has like small pustules, basically. She has these little pustules in her brow, but she says that they never go away. She's always had them. And a lot of people were saying, well, if they're not going to go away, then she has to decide either she wants a tattoo or she doesn't, but she has to sign a waiver saying they might not retain in those spots, right? And Shara commented on it. She didn't diagnose, that's out of scope, but
Right.
she just kind of politely and calmly said, I would actually send her to see a doctor because you don't know what that is, but it could be something. So just on the safe side, send her to a doctor. Not the lady who posted it, but her client who had the pustules in the eyebrow hand wrote Shara a thank you because she had skin cancer. She didn't know, and Shara knew right away, but she didn't
One.
diagnose.
Yep.
She didn't say, "Hey, I've got my educator's hat on." She was just like, "Hey, you should, gently, I'm gonna tell you." I thought that was a really classy of her to not be like, "Hey, all you losers," telling her to go ahead and tattoo on it. You don't know what you're talking about. She didn't say
Right.
that. She said it nicely. And also, what an angel, because she knew what it was and she, got the information across correctly. So I got the pleasure of meeting Shara in Miami for Woolop this year. Nicest lady. She did a great areola demo. So sweet. And she always tells me that her name is Shara, not Shira. She had to introduce herself to me like 3 times because I kept saying Shira. She was like, it's Shara, like share a Coke. Do you want to share a Coke? And she bought me a coffee so I wouldn't forget. She was like, we'll share a coffee.
That's too funny. Well, that's great information, honestly, because that's how I roll. I mean, I have seen so many things working in the laser industry and working with skin. Clients come in. I think it was probably like a year ago. I think I had like 3 patients like within like a month that all had skin cancer that I didn't diagnose, but I said, hey, what's this on your face? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Or what's this on your arm? And they were like, oh, it's nothing, it's whatever, it's a pimple. And I'm like, I'm going to give you my
Oh,
dermatologist's office, and I think you should go see Dr. Collins or Dr. Tan and see what's going on. And sure enough, I mean, they were like, you could have saved my life. And I was like, that's crazy. So yeah, we always got to think outside the box and think that, if something is weird that you've not seen or addressed and before, it's never safe to tattoo over it. It's always better to send them to a doctor, get it diagnosed, get it looked at, and
yeah.
then go from there. Because again, you could one of the biggest things that I think that a lot of people don't know about with why you don't want to like kind of tattoo over a mole or a suspicious looking
Spread
lesion
it.
or something, is because if you cover it, yeah, you could spread it, but also because then you can't monitor how it's
Right. If it changes
changing.
color,
So if it's
size.
changing size or color, or the irregularity of the border, if you can't see that now because you've tattooed over it, that person could eventually have something really horrible happen to their skin, and then you cause that, and that's something that
Yeah.
we got to think about as clinicians, that we could really hurt somebody.
I like that word, clinician. See, you're onto something because most tattoo artists, especially those who are seeking resource in Facebook groups, they don't have skin education. They're new to the industry and they don't know the difference. So if somebody's sitting there egging them on, saying, "Yeah, just go ahead, you're fine, don't worry about it," they need this new voice that you're adding to the group. I think this is really smart. How did you get linked up with Dr. Collins and Dr. Tan? How did that happen?
Honestly, it's word of mouth. So when I've been sending people there now for 2 or 3 years now, maybe even longer,
Is
because of
that
a
your
client.
thing for laser?
What's that?
Are they your supervising for laser?
No, 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 they're not even our doctor. So our doctor's a
Oh,
GP, but she's super crazy busy and she does more pediatric stuff too as well. And so basically I needed and this is kind of funny because we have I'm not gonna say the name, but a dermatologist office in our like medical building area. They're like literally a stone throw away from us. But I've sent a couple of clients there and they were rude to them. And
oh,
so I was like, oh, hell no, you're not going to be rude to my clients. So I'm not going to send my clients anymore. So I actually went up looking for other, dermatologists because I really want a dermatologist to look at certain things, not just a GP or somebody, but someone that understands, the skin a little bit more, not discrediting anybody. But one of my clients was like, she had a suspicious situation on her forehead. I was like, hey, we were going to do some microneedling. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I think you should see
yeah.
a derm first. So she did. And then she was telling me about how she just found this new derm because she just moved here and they were Harvard gals and they were super smart and she loved them. And she said they were really great. And so I took her advice and I started sending my clients there and they've all loved them. So it was a word of mouth. And like literally we have like again, like just down the, just a door away, a dermatology office, but I send people like 25 minutes the opposite direction to another office because they're nice. And I'm like, I don't want my clients to ever come to me and say, hey, that lady you sent me to is really rude.
Yeah.
That's horrible, because
Yeah.
again, you're already nervous going into a situation, nervous that, maybe it is skin cancer or maybe it's something bad. And then you got someone being an asshole and you're like, well, I don't want to deal with you. You want someone that's nicer. So that's how we met. That's how I met with that group. So they're called Austin Skin. And so yeah, that's what they do. So yeah, they've been amazing. And I actually called up there and once and told them that I was like, hey, I'm not a patient of yours, but I just send a lot of people your way, and I just wanted to say thank you. Like I actually called them and thanked them for treating my
Yeah.
patients well. And the lady on the phone was like, oh my God, she's like, we don't even know who you are, but like you've been. I was like, yeah, I've been sending people there for like a couple of years, and I was like, so I was like, and of course I'm not going to tell you that name's HIPAA, who my patients are. I was like, but you've got a lot of my patients that are your patients too. And I said, I just want to thank you for being so nice to them. And they were really taken back by it. So it's kind of a good relationship now.
So nice. How was it word of mouth also how you grew CTP?
100%. Yeah, I don't advertise it. I don't have time for all that. So I didn't, and
Yeah.
I'm not, and my group, again, I wasn't trying to make it this monster group. I see friends of mine that have groups that have like 60,000 plus, and I just, it's just bonkers how they can monitor that shit. And it's just like I didn't want it to be that crazy. So I kind of was kind of quiet about it. I made it wasn't a private group at first because I didn't even know that you could make a private group. I was kind of bad about it. And so someone was like, you should make this group private so that like patients can't see what we're saying. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay, yeah,
Oh
maybe I should.
yeah.
So I was like, okay. So yeah, let me look at these settings. But
There's
yeah,
no
so it's
there's no bigger brow boner killer than someone coming in and posting a picture of a face with a bad brow and they're like, "Someone did this to me. Can you help?" And then the comments aren't about the brow. The comments are like, "Why is she in here?" Well, we can't have a
yeah,
conversation if she's in here. Like you
yeah,
can have a conversation no matter who's in here. You're in a public
right.
forum. But I mean, I understand Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's such a sticky situation. I'm glad you did make it private.
Yeah, it is, but it's also a mindset too. I mean, it's like I had it's funny because I do a lot of removals. I've been a removal specialist for almost 11 years now, and I deal with laser. And I know I'm the only person in my area in Texas that will touch the eyeliner with laser and do the
Yeah,
ocular lenses and what have you. And so I deal with, I mean, I have people flying from out of state all the time to come see me, and so it's nuts. And I've had a couple of patients recently be like, you need to have a group for like your removal
removal.
people and your patients who could. And I was like, oh, that's another group. I don't know if I want to make one. But she was like, no, you need one. She goes, because you need to do more videos about it, because she goes, there's so many people that ask questions to the client of mine that had the removal, like, well, what was it like? What happened? What did you do? Why did you do this? Why did you get the removal? Why did you go to Texas? Why did, all the things.
Yeah.
So it's something that may happen in the future, but not right now.
I do see you tagged consistently. Anytime somebody says, "Does this need removal or can I work over it?" at Texas De La Rosa, over and over and over and over.
It's
And
wild.
every
It
time I see a video of somebody put those metal shields in someone's eyeball, first of all, how are they not squinting to death? Are they dilating the eye first?
No, we use a medical numbing. It's a liquid numbing that we put in the eye so the eye's comfortable, and then we use a gel that goes over the actual lens. And so it's just, and I mean, I used to work under an ocular surgeon, so I'm really, I'm not afraid. Let's put it that way. And
Yeah.
so you just got to get in there and do it. And so it's just a matter of pushing their eye down and popping it in, and then closing it up. It's all good.
Well, I've
They
watched
usually
it. They
don't.
have those up close videos of it all up in the eyeball, baby. Oh my
Yeah,
God. I want to
yeah.
throw up.
I know that my boss, when she first videoed me doing one, she literally lost it. She was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Shut up. I have a client right here."
Right,
She's like trying to video it, and she's like on her phone like this, and she's like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Seriously, stop." Because the client doesn't feel anything because it's numb. It's
right.
very, very
Thank
odd
God for
feeling.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very odd. They're very comfortable. I mean, it is a painful treatment once the laser is going, but it's definitely something that, it's a must, when you've got clients that have 20-year-old permanent makeup that's turned purple or green, and there's just no fixing that.
It's
There's just sometimes,
migraine the side of
yeah,
their face.
it's
Yeah.
migrated, things like that. So it's funny because I've had people, one of my last recently, my eyeliner removal clients, she found me on Reddit. I didn't even know that I was in a Reddit thread somewhere. And I was like, because I've heard Reddit, I've heard like Facebook, Instagram, but like there was another one that was really, oh, TikTok. And I'm gonna tell
Oh,
you,
you would do well on
I
TikTok with
don't
them
do
eye shades.
I've got to figure out TikTok because I've only got like 400
Don't
followers
do
on
it.
TikTok.
Don't do
But I'm
it.
telling you, she was like, you would be so good at, but she found me on TikTok. So I was like, wild. It's wild how your clients find you. But yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it I thought was word of mouth, but again, a lot of it now is this social media stuff.
Social media has become so important because it's where everybody goes to Google something and find something.
Yeah.
Now nobody Googles, everybody goes to TikTok because it's going to show you the how to, not read it. TikTok is replacing Google. And social media is where everybody goes to show off their works. It's where they're going to get their own client. It's their like virtual portfolio, which is dangerous because they don't own it. So if Meta goes down for the day, you just can't work today. And it is also where people go to air grievances.
Yeah.
And about a month ago, we had an outbreak of Facebook group bitching of people just saying did you join that group PMU scammers?
No, I don't even know about that group.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
it
look it
is a
up.
libelous group just saying anybody's name and like they're a scammer. And there's a difference between
Wow.
having a dispute and disagreeing over, whether or not this is what I purchased and this is what you gave me in terms of training and stuff, and being a scammer. If she
Right.
keeps changing the date of class and she refuses to give you your money back, might be a scam. If she gave you her full 3 months of training and you paid her and you feel like the training wasn't up to snuff, that's not a scam. But there was
Right.
no one differentiating in that group, and people were getting dragged. Now, some people were getting dragged because they deserved to be dragged.
Right. Right. Right.
Then came Brow Daddy, entered the chat. So Ruben, or probably a PR person, comes into the chat, and it was this long thread of like 2,000 comments saying this trainer, that trainer, that trainer, but it kept coming up, and he owned it. He wrote a very long paragraph where he was just like, I stopped teaching because I didn't feel like my classes were valuable. I won't do it again. I know that my kid is valuable. And I thought, that's really good PR. That's a perfectly crafted response. He owned it. He was apologetic, and he did what he was going to do to fix it. But then he almost immediately went on a tirade against permablend
Yeah,
in a separate
I
container.
I have stayed so far out of that drama because I have friends that work for all the companies, and
Same.
and I've been lucky enough to be in like, in a good space where no one looks at me as like I'm a crazy person or whatever. And
Yeah.
I just feel like I hope that he's a happy person, and I hope that Ruben gets his happiness from whatever it is. But it seems like there's a lot of anger and animosity between that whole situation. So I wish everybody well, because
Yeah.
things happen, and we don't ever know, because I always
We'll
say
never know because
right
only one person is giving
right, there's
part
a
of the
flip
story.
side to everything. There's a flip side to everything, and and it's like you just got to take things with a grain of salt, and know that
Yeah.
we're not learning everything off the bat.
No, and we never will. But entertaining the masses in that way is certain. And there's lots of like internet feuds that they might not say it all, but that people, girls especially, because there's so many women in the permanent makeup industry, it's almost predominantly women. You get all these like sneak disses. And if you know the tea, you can pick it out. But if you
Hmm.
don't, then you're like an unwitting, fan in the Coliseum, like, yeah, you tell them. And like, you don't know that it's a diss to someone else. It is funny to me. They do that with products too. Like people will in Facebook groups will say, like, what's the best numbing to use? And people will say, sustain. It's got to be sustain. Don't use anything else. And then someone will comment, and I get tagged in it, which is why I keep seeing it. Like, oh, you should try pink gel. And someone will snap at them and be like, that's a new company. You don't know them. You should go with sustain. It's safe. Where we are the same thing.
Yeah,
We are the it's so
I
funny.
always,
There's a
if
million products like that.
right. I always give a few. If you've ever seen me, like when someone says, "What's your
You
favorite
do.
product?" I always give like five different things, because I don't know their regulations. Sometimes you need a 4%, sometimes you need
That's
it
true.
stronger. Sometimes you're like, this has epi in it. That could be illegal where you're at if you're not working under a doctor. So I always give a few different, options for things. And even like permanent makeup, like the colors, like I'm always like, oh, it's like someone the other day was like, what favorite lip colors? And I was like, oh, I love, Tina Davies, Permablend, Even Flow, and Mara Pro. Those are my go-tos. And because I use a lot of different brands, just because, people send me stuff and I try things, and or I see something, even like I say, a student is in my group, and they're like, hey, I just tried this pigment line, and I don't really know anything about it. I'll go buy it just because I want to try it out myself, and so
Yeah.
I can give an honest opinion about it. So a lot of times people don't even send me stuff, but I'll just buy it because I see someone using it, so I can get an informed decision on it, and I can be like, this turned gray on me, or this turned, I didn't like this color brown, or this was like the bomb, and I can't believe it's like this affordable.
Yeah.
So
Well, yours isn't coming from loyalty. Yours stems from actual firsthand experience. I think that's more valuable than anything. But in a Facebook group, it's hard to tell the difference
right,
unless someone is like a warrior who keeps commenting, keep commenting.
right.
Then you know the
I've
brand
seen those
loyal.
people, and I'm always just like, oh yeah. So I try to as much as I love like watching dramatic shit on TV and like reality
Oh,
shows and stuff like that.
I don't want to be in it.
I don't want to be in it, and I'm just like, I like to be like far away from it, far removed from all that, because
How do
number
you
one,
keep it?
I'm
How do
too
you keep it out of
busy.
your group?
I shut it down. Like a lot of times, like I will delete an entire thing and I'll boot them out. I won't even like give them an
You
option
boot
of,
them.
oh, they're gone. Yeah,
The power you have.
like they're blocked. They're blocked immediately. Like I've had to do that a couple of times. I had someone who was being really rude and to a couple of people, and I thought about it. I was like, should I give them a warning, because they were asking questions, and then this person was chiming in being an ass, and I thought, no, I don't. There's a million other groups. I don't have to give anyone a warning. So I just booted them, and then they
Yeah.
tried to get back in. I
You
was
got to
like,
boot and ban.
I was like, that was not. Yeah, I didn't block them. I just booted them. I just deleted them out. And so then they tried to get back in, and they were like, was this a mistake? And then I was like, no,
No.
it
You knew it
wasn't.
wasn't a mistake though.
So I
You
was
knew
like,
that.
it wasn't a mistake. This is what happened. And then I just let them know that, hey, I don't put up with that. And then they just like, and then they blocked me. So I was like, so I was
You
like,
mad, say you
oh,
mad.
I know. I was like, okay, they blocked me. I was like, whatever. But I don't care. And I was
So
like, well, I
that
hope they
shows who
don't.
they are. That they
Yeah.
they are that
Yeah.
mean bully. That is what it is.
Somebody that just has, I always feel like when people are like that, that's somebody that has a lot of internal issues problems with people, I mean, you're never going to be happy in life. Like, and I don't like to be around those type of people. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I don't like them in my group either. Like
They're
if you're
energy
Debbie,
vampires, dude.
yeah,
You could be having
one,
the best day and you
yes.
start reading that shit and then it gets into your head and your vibe.
Right. Oh, you said energy vampire, and it made me think of What We Do in the Shadows. I love that show on FX. Have you ever seen it?
No, I thought you were about to tell
It's
me you had like a,
no,
I
it's
thought
so
you were going to
good.
tell me you and someone else we do in the shadow. I was
No,
like,
What We Do in
it's
the
Texas
Shadows. It's
breaking
a
news.
no, this is it's
Texas
a
De
show
La
on
Rosa is in a hooded like cloak and dagger.
no, it's What We Do in the Shadows. It is this show. I'm gonna pull it just so you can see it. This show here. I
Okay.
am obsessed. I don't know if I can do that on your show, but
Yeah.
yeah, but that's like that's that show right there is so great. And there's an energy vampire on there. You got to watch it. It's
I'm looking
hilarious.
for something new, so I'm gonna go watch that one. It's on
It's
Hulu.
great. It's about these vampires that live in like our world now, but they're like from old time, obviously. And they just do some stupid shit. And they're just really funny. And they live together and they have like this familiar, it's great. It's a really lighthearted, funny show. And that's how I kind of you said, how do I keep it together earlier? Like
Yeah.
that question. That's what I do. I kind of like get into my shows and like I read or I'll do something that's
What do you
creative to
like to
get
read?
well, you can tell I read a
Not
lot.
comics, I guess. Yes, I
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's giving dark academia.
that is my library back here. You're gonna laugh. I love like all like what is it, young adult, like Twilight, that type of shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm so into that. Like I love one of my favorite authors, her name is Charlene Harris. So she did the Sticky Stackhouse books with which was True Blood. And then I
That's
love
what I was thinking of when you were talking about what we do in the shadows. I was like, that
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
a little like
yeah.
True
Like,
Blood.
so I like fantasy stuff like that. Laurel Hamilton, she's really great. The Anita Blake Chronicles, those are really good. I love biographies. I'm obsessed with like reading how like I'm obsessed with the 50s. Like I'm obsessed with like anything old. Like James Dean is like my hero and like Marilyn Monroe. And so I love reading books on like old Hollywood. So I have a lot of old Hollywood books back there.
I
Um,
love some old Hollywood
Oh,
gossip.
I love it. I love it. It's so crazy because we
They
think
were
that our
wilder than us.
no, and they were, and they had so much more power because it was all hidden.
Yeah,
Now
nobody
like
knew about it.
right since the Me Too movement has kind of come out, there's been a lot of change, and I think for the good in the industry. But like and I work in film and television doing makeup, so I mean I'm in that career, and I've seen some insane stuff in my own world. But like those people in the 50s, man, they were like doing some
The
crazy
drugs
shit.
were crazier.
Yes, they're like,
They
I'm
were
gonna give
everybody
this.
was sleeping with everybody's husband and wife.
Yes, I'm gonna
Everybody
give
knew
this
about it. Nobody said
12 year
anything.
old a
They get rid of
big.
babies real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Send her
yeah.
off.
They just go on vacation. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 12-year-old some cocaine to get him up, and then I'm gonna make him work all day. Then I'm gonna give him a downer to go to bed. And you're like, that's a child. How did you?
I
How?
don't,
But
how did people make it out of
this was the
childhood? How did people
managers
live?
and the parents knew this was done. It was just so sad. Yeah, you look at all those old Hollywood starlets and some of the ones that like made it out, like Liz Taylor, like that made it through and like lived a long life. I'm always like, she was a fighter because
Yeah,
they had been through some shit. So yeah.
dude. Even in present day, the story of like the Hilton and her sisters and their mom, Big Kathy,
Oh
and how
yeah.
that book House of Hilton. Did you read that?
No, but I do
It
love
is crazy.
I thought Paris Hilton was a genuine person. I had a couple of run-ins with her and her sister Nikki once. Nikki and I didn't get along very well.
Oh, really?
That's a story for another day. But
Well,
yeah,
she's a Rothschild, honey.
yeah. Well, there you go. But yeah, but I knew that that was always kind of a persona, just like Marilyn Monroe was a persona, and that's how they kind of
It
like
would
they could
have to be.
they,
Do
they
they
could
sell
they can
walls
turn it
there?
right. They can turn it on, and that's what sold them. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm always fascinated with people like that can just be something one way and then another way. Like I remember hearing an interview with Marilyn Monroe, and she was doing this interview with this person, and she was like, hey, I'm going to show you how Marilyn works basically, and I'm going to mess it up, but basically she was like, I'm just going to walk down the street as me, not Marilyn. And so she just kind of walked normal and was doing her thing, and no one really kind of paid attention to her. But then she judged the hair, she got the walk, she changed the voice up, and then she just walked across the street, and everybody was like, it's Marilyn. And I was like, I can totally see how that happens. Like I can see how like
Magnetism.
right, it's just it's a way of thinking, it's a way of exuding that kind of confidence in who you are, even if it's not real. It's imposter syndrome for most people, but it's that, that exuding that thing that attracts people.
I think that's what people do to grow followers online. I think that's the modern form of that in our day and age is people become a persona on the
Right.
internet so that they can get more people. But in regular, if you go and meet them, without the filters, without the special
Yeah.
sparkly lights, without the bravado, it's just any bitch from, Nowheresville, Louisiana, like me.
Well, I've always prided myself in being exactly the same
You are,
as you. If you see me like wearing
as
a
seen on
concert
TV.
t-shirt, and on a podcast, I'm wearing a concert t-shirt when I'm at home. I don't. I've always said that, I've done podcasts for many years, and I've always just been myself, and I've never wanted to have a persona. I think the only thing that maybe changes is depending on what podcast I'm on, I won't
Yeah.
cuss. Like
Yeah, because you
I'll
have
try
to.
I'll try really hard not to throw an F-bomb out there.
You can fuck around here, but
Yay.
I think that the person you are, the personality you naturally have, doesn't lend itself to needing a second persona. But I think some people who are a little bit more quiet and themselves in real life, that is not going to translate on the internet. And if that's where you go to
Yeah.
get clients or that's where you go to get students, you have to pump it up a little bit. You've got to kind of, hi, I'm Victoria Glam, but like in real, I would Victoria Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
But
I get
but then
it.
there are people who overdo it and they start to like believe their own hype. And
Oh, I
that's where you
know.
get problems.
Yeah, and that's where that, like I said, that imposter syndrome comes in. Like I think it's very interesting, and it's funny being, I mean, I'm older. I say I'm older because I'll be 44 this year. But it's like I grew up not, like in my teenage years, not having like social media and all those things. And
Yeah.
so and I think about like how grateful I am that I didn't have to deal with all that shit when I was younger, because these kids nowadays have such, it's so hard to be like, I mean, they've got to put this huge like thing. They have to have the best clothes, the best hair, the best this, whatever. And it's so crazy because they have to have this like kind of, like you said, a persona on
They're
social
always on.
media, and they can't be real. And I've always been like, I don't want to be a follower. Like I've never been someone that, I was the kid that when and I was growing up in a town of 4,000 people with green hair and Doc Martens, and no one even had them, and no one knew what they were, and everyone's wearing Wranglers and guns in their car, and I'm in trouble because I have green hair. I'm like, that person has a gun in their car at high school, and you're mad at me because I have green hair? What the hell? I'm not trying
We
to
all
kill
had
anything.
guns in our car at high school.
I know. I was like, this is crazy. So I've always been someone that I've never tried to be anything different. But I will say that, I do have a moment where, like, when I'm on at work or doing stuff, I do like to have my quiet time too as well. So that's also, I think,
Yeah.
another way to ground myself. But I feel like some of these people that don't have that mentality, they're like on all the time. It's very like what's that show, Black Mirror? Like
Yeah.
that first episode of the first season of Black Mirror where she like loses her, like she gets downgraded because she's like not doing great on social media. I feel like that's like how our world is. And it's sad because you see these people that aren't really living real lives.
Yeah.
They're
And the thing
living through this
is,
thing.
the kids, like you were saying, you feel bad for kids who are being like growing up in the world where you're always on camera, you
Yeah.
always have to. It's not even that they never get to be real. It's compounded by the fact that they don't know that they're not being real. They don't know that what they're seeing is not real.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's
It's
the
got to be,
craziest part.
yeah,
Like
because
me
you're,
and Bob Dole, we invented the internet. I came up while the internet was being built, and we
yeah.
decided what that was going to look like. So I had the internet before there was even MySpace. We had one computer in like a family room, and then we had to move it out of the family room because I think my dad was in a lot of chat rooms.
Uh-oh.
And I remember that, and I know what the chat room was called. But it was very like you walked away from the
Yeah.
computer. You could log
Yeah.
off. We never log off anymore.
No,
So,
it's so
and
it's
kids don't know the difference because they weren't around here during that time.
yeah, it's sad. I think it's really sad. I do, because it's something that you see people living so virtual, like that VR world, and they're not really living in the real world, which I think also is what happens with a lot of people, like going back to our our topic of like, aesthetics and makeup and things like that. Like I think a lot of people are not, they're thinking that their professional by watching someone else,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? Because and that's also something that's
Like
super
me watching
scary.
Project Runway. I've
Right.
got
It's super,
this.
yeah, I can sew that. It's scary because you see someone that's doing something really good on makeup or permanent makeup or brows or whatever, and then they think, oh, I can do that
Yeah.
because they see it because it looks so easy on social media, but they don't realize that that 30-second video took like 5 hours to edit. There's all these little different
12
cuts
hours
in
of 12
between.
years of experience.
Yeah, it's like it's just it's interesting to me because you know you see people and I've seen a lot of the newer artists get that way. I don't want to go to a class. I want to do it online. And I'm like, you want to learn to tattoo online? Like, would you trust a mechanic that went to an online course and never touched a car? Would you let him
I've
work
never,
on your car? Fuck
I've
no.
never, I've never heard anyone just outright say like, I don't want to take a class.
Oh, I have. I have heard
They
it, which
lie
is
about it. They're like, oh, I
they're
took
like,
one.
I don't want to take a class. I'm going to watch YouTube. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're tattooing someone's face? That's crazy to me that they're so brazen that they don't even want to take it seriously. But, you know, it's like, I'm going to, you know, it's like I was doing retail yesterday. I'm going to do brows now. Like they just decided that afternoon because they watched a YouTube video.
I
So
was
it's
doing
so,
retail
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. I was a manager at Sears and I don't know, whatever. You know, it's just wild to me. I don't know. And then I see people like I remember years and years ago I was teaching and I had a lady and I felt really bad for her because she had this thing where it was kind of like when microblading was just coming out and she was really upset because she just got this divorce and it didn't go the way she wanted it, so she was like, I got to make some money. And
Renaissance.
she was like, I've been a homemaker for the past like 10 years. I haven't done anything. My husband did everything. So now she thought she was going to come in and be a microblading artist and make $800 a day because that's what I was charging, you know. And she's like, I'm gonna be rich. I can work 1 hour a day and be. And I was like, girl, it takes a lot. And I remember like her like day two, I think it was day two.
She
Like
cried.
what day one was all like didactics, and she's like, oh, I got this. And then like day two, we started our hands on like you know working on skins, and she lost her shit. Like she didn't even come back from lunch. Like she went to lunch and never came back. And I was like,
Never.
did we lose a student? So I'm like, I'm like front desk is calling her, and like I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't want to
Hey.
start class yet because I was like, maybe she was in an accident or something
Yeah.
crazy. And she answered the phone finally. Like her kit, everything was there. Kit was there, everything. She was like, you can have it. I'm done. I was like, what do you mean you're done? She was like, I realized that this is not for me. She's like, you're a great educator, but this is too hard. I thought this was going to be like makeup. And I was like, no, this is needles. This is like, it's a tattoo, babe. And she just was like, I'm out. She goes, you can give the kit to whoever wants it. And she literally never came back. I was
Did
like,
you refund?
I mean, I don't know what I wasn't the owner of the school back then or anything, so I don't know what they did with it, but I will say that it was one of the craziest
I
things that
wouldn't have
ever happened to
refunded.
me. Yeah, I was like, you don't at least want to come get your kit, like, and maybe sell it or so. She didn't even want to come back. She was so distraught. And I remember her like she was crying on the phone, and I just felt really bad for her because, but it was that mental state. Like she thought she was going to come in and do this and make because I made it look easy when I was, you know, doing the video and
Yeah.
I'm showing her stuff. And she was like, I was like, babe, I've got years of artistry. I can draw a brow with my eyes closed. I was like, you know, I mean, this is not easy. It's nothing we do is easy, especially when you're dealing with clients that have opinions and want this and maybe have skin issues
That's
and
the
then
thing.
they have you know one eyebrow up here, one straight. You know, it's like I had a lady come in the other day. It was like one was like, and I was like, what is happening? You know, so I mean, it's not as easy as it looks. You know, and I always tell people don't get bamboozled by these people's before and afters because one of my clients the other day was like, you know, I love that you post videos of like a year later and 2 years later clients. And I'm like, yeah, because
Important.
when you see that person that you want to go to on social media and all they post are before and afters, well, of course they look fabulous directly after they were done. But what do they look like in 3 months?
Yeah.
What do they look like in 6 months and a year and so on? And I'm like, do you ever see those people? Some of those people never post that stuff. And you're like, do I trust that person? Because I want something that's going to hold up over time. I don't want it to look good for a week and then it looks like shit because it fell out or you know
I
the
don't
the color
even
was wrong or
I don't even trust before and after you posted it before and after.
you know you're
Show
right
me a
because
video. Show me another
yeah
picture of that
you're right
client. Show me from a different angle. Show me her at the front desk. Send me the security footage because I don't believe you anymore.
for
The amount
sure.
of people pretending that Jasmine and Carla's lips are their lip work is
Oh,
out of control. There should be a whole
I
Facebook group just for identifying
I hate
thefts of
that.
Jasmine DeBelis's work.
I you know
I
that it happens so much. I don't understand why people do that because
You
here's
can't
the
reproduce
thing.
it.
No, here's the thing. Right. Do you know this happened to me? Not that it was someone stole my work, but years ago, this lady came into my facility and was wanting me to remove her brows, and she had gotten bamboozled by this artist in San Antonio. And she came in bawling. She had this hat way down, and she's like, I've just got my brows done like 3 days ago, and I've been trying to deal with this. And I was like, I can't do anything about it now. We're just going to let it heal. But I wanted to get her story, and she said that she'd gone to this guy and she had seen his work on social media or whatever, Facebook, and it was beautiful and his website was great. And so she went in and she was like, he just like, because I was like, first off, the shape was absolutely horrid. They were like witch brows. They were like angular, like straight, and they were microbladed straight up and down. Like the hairs
Uh,
were literally straight up and down. Like I
like
look
a thatched roof.
like a candy cane. It was crazy. And so I was like, did you approve this? Like, did you see this shape? And like, did you say this was okay? She goes, no. She goes, I laid down. She goes, he started cleansing my face off. She goes, I thought he was going to do the mapping thing that I see online. And she goes, and then she goes, all of a sudden, she goes, I started feeling these scratches. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah.
At least
She
he
goes,
cleansed.
right? She goes, he just started tattooing my face. And she goes, and then I realized like he's actually doing the treatment. So she said she stopped him. But at this point, he's already done like his first pass on that one brow. So she was like, I guess I'm just gonna let him finish. So then she did both brows and they looked horrible. So I asked her, I said, what did his work look like that online? And she was like, no. And so she found out through, I guess, a girlfriend and her doing some research. Because let me tell you, they did research. These girls were like, PIs, man. They
I
found he
love
was
it.
using pictures from some Russian artist across the world. That I guess he thought that, that no one would notice in San Antonio. That, find out that he's not using these, pictures that, but that were like, he was cutting off like the little, the trademark signs and things. And
God,
he did good.
so much work. He's
He
just
would
been
right,
practicing.
so much work on this Photoshop and making this website and doing all this great work and then not being able to tattoo. So she went to go, back there after the third day, and she said his shop was closed. Like the sign was gone. Like he like up and left because she was threatening to sue him, and it was crazy. So we went up having to laser it off, and I felt so bad for her because they were like blue. I think he used body ink on her. They were like a blue. After like 3 days, I could see they were going to turn blue, and there was
He had no
migration,
education. He
and
never
it
took
was
one class.
no. And so I was like, why do people steal stuff? Because it's like if you're showcasing all this work and you're going to get these clients come in, you can't do this work.
He thought it was going to be easy. He thought it was going to be like makeup. You his stuff away. He's closing up shop. He's done. Give it to whoever you want. He's out. This is not for him.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't understand
I don't know
people's
who to trust
thought
less,
process.
Russians or people from Antonio. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I will say, don't you're not kidding. You're not kidding at all. So I would say, let me tell you, I would trust a Russian to do my brows and any of those girls like know how to do
You for
everything.
hardcore, yeah.
Those
So
girls are crazy
let me tell
talented.
you why I was kidding. I have several lady friends who came from Russia and that I've worked with. So I don't know if you knew this. Most people do if like we've talked before, but you and I have never spoken before. All through college, I was an exotic dancer in Baton Rouge.
Oh,
And I have danced at a lot of clubs. I've danced in Texas, in New York, in Miami, like one or two nights. It's not like I lived in those places. So
right.
the way that the exotic dancer industry works is if you show up and say, "Hey, I want to work here," they'll some places have to have a permit, so you have to go to the police station, get your printed and pay like 20 bucks or whatever. And
Oh,
some places they just say, "Get on stage." So, and like if you're okay on stage when you get up there, meaning that you're not a stumbling mess or you're not naked or something like I guess in some places you can be, but whatever. Then boom, you can work there tonight. So some of my girlfriends and I who were dancers would say, "Okay, well we made plenty money this week. We know that we have rent covered or utilities or whatever. And so Friday when we get out of class at noon, let's grab a flight and go to New York for the weekend and we'll dance one night at wherever or we'll go to Tootsie's or we'll go, whatever." So I've been a lot of places. I'm telling you right now, if a Russian walked into the business, you might as well go home.
really?
She's taken all the money, baby. They're better than us at everything. Everything.
I believe it.
One of
I'm friends with Lulu Luciano and like that whole group of those ladies down in Miami, and I'm like, God bless America. They are
is she Russian?
poor. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I've
she's my
never
friend.
I
Yeah,
briefly met, shook a hand at
I
a conference,
and
but I've
I'm
met
from
her.
and I gotta say this, I gotta say this. I'm a Texas boy, so we had like our book for Texas was like, Texas history was like this thick, world history was like this big. So I think
Right.
everyone is like she might be not totally Russian, so I'm just gonna say, but I love her accent, and I believe it is. I believe she is Russian. But I was down. I was at WULOP. I was one of their judges back in 2021,
Mhm.
and I literally felt like it was all Russians that were there, and everybody was so good, and they were all so pretty, and I was like, where
I
are
don't
the
understand.
I was like, y'all, do y'all just like,
What are we
is
doing wrong?
everybody gorgeous? Because I was like, oh my God, I just feel so like not like I felt like I was in the wrong place. I was
Dude,
like, y'all are
I
all vampires, and I'm like not a vampire.
I worked at this club that was like the B-list club, right? So Penthouse owns Gold Club and Gold Club owns Crazy Horse. So I was working at Crazy Horse because it was on my side of the Mississippi River. You'd have to go over the river to go to the other club. I worked there for like a year and a little bit, and it was kind of a trashier club. It wasn't the nice one, but it wasn't, I didn't have to go over the river, so I wasn't worried about whether or not I was going to make it home because I had class in the morning, whatever. At some point, one of the managers thought that he was my manager, which is a mistake. I'm a contractor. I work for me. So I told him to go fuck himself. And I carried my ass across the river to our parent club, which was Gold Club. Now it's Penthouse Club. I was so intimidated to go to that club because this woman, who's a friend of mine now, named Svetlana, used to be in Cirque
Of
du
course.
Soleil in
Of course that's
Russia.
her name. That's great. Of course her name
She
is Svetlana.
I was really good at pole work. She was better. And I'd never met her. And I knew that because people would tell me, wow, you're really good. Why don't you work at the other club with Svetlana? And I was like, fuck that lady. I'm not
You're
doing that.
like, she's too
She would,
good.
I'm telling you, she would climb to the top of the stripper pole, which was 2 stories high. There was no ceiling for the second story. And she would put that ball at the top in her, like, I don't know, solar plexus, I guess. And she would like starfish on it. And she was in complete control
Yeah.
because she was in Cirque du Soleil all as a child. And she said she wasn't scared because she had already fallen from that height before and broken like every bone in her body, had some like staple stuff. They don't shy away from a fight, obviously, and they're not
Yeah.
nervous about to try anything. Like she just kept
Yeah.
going at it, like I'll just be good at this, and that's it. She's just gonna be good at it.
That's
So
wild.
I had a student in my class, I don't know, sometime last year, and she was like, day two of this 4 day in-person class, and then you have 30 days to send in sheets and practice, whatever. And she was like, yeah, well, I'm pretty sure she was lying. I have cousins out in Russia, so I was thinking I'm gonna take this class and I'm gonna practice a little bit, and then I'm gonna go to Russia and I'll teach them how to do it.
I mean,
I never laughed so hard.
she
I was like,
probably
but
could. I mean, you never know. They're
no,
so good. No, I'm kidding. No.
get out of here. I was like, oh, you don't know about Russians because they I don't know if they invented microblading. I mean, I last I heard Tina Davies did,
Yeah,
but
Tina Davies coined the phrase for sure. But I mean, I know that we know that manual tattooing has been around for thousands of
she
years.
even said that. She said
Yeah,
that in the interview. Like, I saw a man doing embroidery brows, but she coined the phrase. People got really
yeah,
mad about that on my podcast.
yeah.
So
I
they were
mean,
like, she didn't invent microblading. She didn't say that she did.
No, Tina Davies is such a sweetheart. I gotta say, I love her. I know I'm on their pro team, and
Yeah.
I love that she, and I'm gonna be honest. I'll say this too because a lot of people think, oh, maybe he's bought now with Tina Davies. No, I was very strict about like because I've been asked to be on different pro teams for different companies before, and I was like, I don't want to do that because my biggest concern is I never want people to think that I am trying to sell them something. I always want, like you said earlier, like I said, I give like 4 or 5 different like
Yeah.
product lines or this or that or whatever because I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm being sold. So I was really nervous because I have a lot of the clients or a lot of the groups, you have to just use their stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to do that because I like using what I want to use. And for whatever client it's going to be. Like I know that some people are going to fare better with inorganic ink, some are going to do better with organic ink, some are going to do better with this set of needles versus this set of needles in this machine. And I don't want to be what is the word censored, I guess, as it were, in what I'm posting and what I'm doing. And so Tina was like very upfront with me and was like, nope, that's not how we do it. We want you to post about what we're doing, what you love about it, but we also want to know if you don't like it. And we want
Yeah.
you to use, and if you're using other things, cool. And because I was really nervous because I didn't want anyone to think that that's what was happening. So that is how it works with me. I'm very, very blunt. I love, giving real advice and real, information that I've learned about something. So when I say it's good, it's because I loved it. And if I say I
Yeah.
didn't like it, this is what happened. Like for instance, like I'll say, for instance, I'll give one that I don't like. I love Loaded from Taryn Darling. And Taryn Darling, I love her to death. We've never met in person, but we've done a live together, and
No?
we've just chatted, and she's such a sweetheart. I love her so much. And I love Loaded. Saddle Brown and I have a problem. Saddle Brown from Loaded and I have a fucking problem. I have done 3 clients and I know what I'm doing, and they've all ashed out on me. So I was like,
Really?
what is going on with this color in me? So I don't know. I just so like for instance, I asked it in a group, if other people had problems, and some people said no, some people said yes. And it's kind of like Brow Daddy when people were using Brow Daddy. I hate Berry Blonde. That color turned like shit on one of my clients, and I was like, oh my God, I hate this. And some people love it. So I'm honest. So and even if someone's like, well, I used it, it didn't happen to me. I'm like, well, cool. What did you use? What machine? Whatever. What technique? I ask questions. So that's me being real too. Like I never say that I don't have problems, and I never say that I don't have issue clients, because let me tell you, the majority of my clients are the 45 plus. Most are in like the 60 to 70 plus. So I deal with a lot of really
Yeah.
difficult cases. And so I have to look at things like that. And so I always tell people, because I hate when I see people that are, and I hate saying this about myself, that like I'm a leader or whatever in the industry, but like,
You are.
thank you. But I'm a humble person, but I
But
hate
you're
when I
the
see.
leader that we deserve because so many other ones are not asking the questions or they don't tell you that they have problems. Everything's
Right.
rainbows and sunshine and puppies all the time. I
That's what
can't
I don't
trust
want.
you.
Yeah, that's what I don't
Trust
want.
you.
I'm not that person, and I don't like those people, because it makes other people feel like their work is shit, or they're never going
That's
to get
true.
good. They're never going to be as good as that person, because that other person only posts their good stuff. They don't post, hey, by the way, this is happening. Like I just had one of the most horrible situations happen to me. Sorry if I keep looking down, making sure the plumbers are working on my stuff.
Oh,
So, yeah, I'm upstairs in my office and I'm making sure that everything's good. I had a lady come in that I did her lips, and when I was doing her lips, backtrack, I did her lips like 10, 11 months ago, and then she got pregnant like right after I did her lips. So I wouldn't touch her.
oh,
So she was like, well, then she was like, I'm not going to breastfeed. I want my lips touched up. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So we get her in, and her lips were just like barely like, kind of like they were perfect, but she wanted a little bit more border, because I was real cautious. I'm very cautious with the lips. And she was like, I just want a little more border, and they were barely kind of faded at the ends. And so I was like, fine, let's do this. Well, I didn't think to ask her, and this is my fault. I didn't think to ask her that she could have done something that same day, which I didn't know. She had got her lip filler dissolved the same day that she came to
oh,
see, like 4 hours before she came to see me. So I put my numbing on her. I didn't pay attention. So my numbing has epinephrine in it. So it took away her bruises. So when I start working on her upper lip, where I'm doing everything, I just put it all together, easy peasy. I was like, oh, you're going to be in and out of here. It's great. Looked gorgeous. She was happy. But then I start working on the bottom of it. I'm noticing there's bruises popping up. And I was like, I didn't really tattoo there. So I said, hey, girl, what's up with these bruises? And then I started noticing that she had a little bruise. And I said, did you do something? And she was like, oh yeah. She goes, I got my lips dissolved. And I was like, when? And she was like, today, like
an
a few
hour ago.
hours ago. And I was like, I literally was like, are you kidding me? And so she was obviously swollen from that too. So now I'm having to remove her upper lip, like this left side, because it doesn't match where her lips have gone down.
Yeah,
And so I was telling, I was like, this shit happens sometimes to people, and you've got to be honest about all these things, because no one's going to look up to you and trust you if they think that you're just perfect. I'm
right.
not perfect, and I don't have perfect clients. I have a lot of crazy shit that happens, and and I talk about it all so that that there ain't no BS over here. It's like there's real deal things happening. And then also, I will never not ask a client again in like my career if they've not had something done to their lips, like because you would think, why would you do something the same day as you're getting a tattoo? Like I wouldn't. That'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go get my hair bleached at this one salon, and then I'm gonna go to another salon and get it bleached again. Like, why would
Yeah.
you do that? You know what I mean? But people don't think, people don't think like that. And so she just did what she did. And so here we are. So she's been lovely with, the fact that we've been, I'm working
How
with
did
her
that
now. So
heal?
we're in the middle of it right now. So we're in the middle of removing the top part. So it's going to be
Oh
a few more weeks. So
shit.
I'm going to keep everyone posted. But again, I've never had that happen. I've never gone outside of order on lips because I'm just so damn careful with lips. And I'm always like, when people want like big lips, like, nope, we don't do that. You want big lips, you go get filler.
At least it
But
happened to you because you're
yeah,
the removal guy, right?
right, right,
Like
right.
if
And so
it was
she,
going to be some kind of weird claim or something, I would hope that it happened to Mary Richardson because she's the contract lady
for
and
sure,
nobody's going to boss Mary
she has
around.
got an addendum for that. I want her to make a shirt, I
I've
swear.
got an addendum for that. She needs a shirt for that, doesn't
Because
she?
I may have to make that shirt for her. She's so damn cute. I love her.
I love her. I love her. She came and did a class here. And you know, it's always awkward when you're like meeting someone and sharing space, but I hope she looks back on that experience and says that she enjoyed coming to MBI because we she was a wealth of knowledge and I love how many times she said, "I've got an addendum for that." She
Yeah,
preps students so well to
she
go into
does.
their own business armed. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, she's great. I took her nano class just because I've already, I mean I did it 2 years ago maybe, and I've already done nano for years, and I but I wanted to learn from her because again I also think as an educator I got to learn from other people. I got to take these big classes because I want to see what they're doing and what's going on, and learn from them too. I even learn from students, which is great. I mean, I have students that sometimes like, I'm using this product. I'm like, let me try it.
Yeah.
So I think we all learn from each other. But what I gotta say about Mary is, God, she is so freaking cute and so funny and just such a she's also super blunt. Like I love that she'll be like, I
She
ain't doing
is.
you. She'll put the hand up in your face and be like, I ain't doing that. And I love it because we need more people like her. And I feel like, she's just a great giver too. So yeah, she's wonderful.
Who would you say had the most impact on you starting your career or maybe even throughout the last 20 years?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, and this is definitely not because of me being on the pro team, probably Tina Davies. I When I first started teaching 11 years ago, um, I was using her stuff when it first came out. And I remember like watching her videos, like her live videos on FaceTime or like Facebook, and before FaceTime was a thing, and showing those videos to my students about like, I remember when she had her 19 shader like video
Yeah.
out that she was just getting like and her husband was filming. And I was like, this is coming, guys. And like, I was so excited and we were using her products because before then we were using I think it was True Colors, and then before that it might have been Color Source and LI. And I'm old school. If you know Color Source, it's
I
like
know Color Source.
that's
Yeah.
an old one, honey. Everyone had green brows for for a hot minute. So, but yeah, I would say Tina Davies because she was such a giver even back then, and she was honest. I felt like about like I remember hearing her before she got big, but her saying like she did 100 people for free before she ever started charging, and I felt like that was such a respectful thing to do to
Carla
get really.
Ricciardone said that this morning. She did the
Yeah,
same thing. She gave away 100 before she
yeah,
ever
I
charged.
never charged people when I first started either. Like and I was, I mean, granted, I started tattooing when I was 14. Yeah,
Oh my
true story.
God.
Yeah, true story. Body work. I was doing crazy shit. I have friends of mine that are like, I was your first client. I was like, girl, you weren't a client. I was 14. That was me scratching on your skin. Are you kidding? But so I mean, but I respected that and I followed her through the career of her career. And so I feel like I like where she's been in the industry. I like where she's just stayed in her lane and is very just calm and collected and does the right thing. And again, that just kind of also proves why I wanted to be a part of their pro team when they asked me was because I respect her a lot.
That makes sense. And I think that's also how she's built a really sustainable brand. Her
Yes.
brand has weathered, whatever when her first pigments came out and everybody's like, ah, Sarah. Nobody panicked, nobody freaked out, nobody said I'm throwing these away, nobody filmed trashing her videos or anything like that.
Right.
Everyone trusted Tina and trusted the process.
Yeah, even I
She
had
said
that
that they're gonna
problem.
calm, they'll calm.
Yeah, even I had that problem when they changed the formula. I was like, why is medium brown different than this medium brown?
Yeah.
I had the same things, but what I like is that when something is addressed, like we all know that permablend thing happened with, like in the UK about, all the blah blah blah. She addresses things so instantly and like it's like this is what's going on. I've talked to people, this is where we're at.
That was
And
France,
she's
right?
yeah, I think it was France. And
Yeah.
so she's just she's on it. And I appreciate that because that's how I am. When someone asks something, I like to go to the source I don't want to hear it from 20 other people. I want to know it from the source. Like, for
Same.
instance, someone just recently was like, why is frost not a thing anymore? And I was like, let me tell you, I talked to Taryn Darling myself. I messaged her and was like, hey, da da da. They're getting a new cut. They're doing a new one. A new numbing is coming out soon, but it's just, they're going with a different company, blah, blah, blah. So just calm down. But the old one is still good. And so that's how I work. I want to make sure that people are getting the right information. And so I go to the source. I don't want to hear it from 20 of the people that are mad about something or they're trying to sell you their own
That's the
shit.
thing.
Because
I don't want to be influenced by your opinion or your
no,
bias.
no,
Tina
no,
is
no,
very
no.
responsive, though. She's quick and she'll email you very quickly.
Oh, 100%. I think
Mm,
for someone to be in her stature in our industry, for
She
her
has
to
her
be
finger on the
so
pulse.
for her to be so boom, 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 I'm on the phone and texting you right back. I mean, I can send her messages and within a few hours they're back.
Yeah.
That's not really, I mean, I can't
Ever
even do
met
that
her
shit.
daughter, Brooke?
Yes, I met her at our convention for SPCP last year.
I love her. Okay, you've got to get me on stage at SBCP. I am looking for a home and I'm down to be an SBCP girly.
Yes.
I met Brooke at Woolop in Miami this year,
Yep.
and she really wanted to hang out at my station because it was all pink and all green, and she loved
Of
that.
course.
But she gave me all marketing advice and all this business advice, and some of it was solid, and some of it was like you should put slime on your counter, like kid
Yeah.
stuff, right?
She's 9, right? She's cute.
Yeah, she's young, but so much of what comes out of her mouth is a reflection of the way that she's parented, right? Like any
Right.
child. The
Yep.
way that Brooke is parented is that she is going to be a CEO of some. That
Oh,
is a
yeah.
smart little girl, and you can tell mom and dad have big conversations, whether she's in the room or not in the room. They bring her with them. She's been on stage at Woolop. She's been on
Yep.
stage other places with Tina. She was on stage with me. She understands marketing. She understands brand visuals. And she asked me if she could have a sample of pink cream. And I was like, yeah, sure. Wait, I don't think I should give lidocaine to a minor. And
Right?
she
She just
said,
wanted it because it was pink.
exactly. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, you probably should not. You probably shouldn't. That's a bad choice." She walks off and she came back and she was like, "Can my mom have a sample?" And I said, "That's even worse. I'm not giving Tina Davies a sample of my product.
Oh,
I want to pee my pants right now. Like, no." And Tina
that's so
came over and
funny.
that's actually met. But her daughter brought me more people sample and purchase the product than anyone. I owe her a fee. She
Yeah.
kept bringing people over and saying,
She's
"You
a
have to try this. You
she's
have to try it."
adorable. Yep.
But that's such a testament to how Tina and her husband truly are. They're nurturing because she's
Yeah.
still a child and that's her mom,
Yep.
but they are prepping their kids for real world experiences. And Brooke is polite and she knows her place. She's not a wild kid running around knocking stuff
Right.
over, but she
Yep.
was also one of the last ones to leave. And when I got there in the morning, she was like, "You clocked out early." You're
I love it.
right.
No, that is so true. And I think that also just again, we watch, I've always been someone that, I look at people and I watch them and I'm a people watcher and I like to see how they do things and what's going on and how they run their business, how they run this, how they do that. Cause we all learn from people. And Tina has a wonderful way of making sure that people are given knowledge and not being, I know this, da da da, like
Yeah.
she's like too good for you. And you can see that that's how she teaches her kids to be too as well, because I mean they're going to be something for sure. I mean, I know that for sure as well, because just again for who she is, I mean Tina has come a long way. And it's very interesting. And like I said, I like to pride myself as being someone who likes to be around those type of people. I want to bring in people in my world that are people that I can look up to. I can you know bounce things off of ideas and
Yeah.
what have you, and be leaders for people, be help people. I don't like calling myself a leader because I feel like sometimes people think that leaders are above the pack or in front of the pack. I'm right with you guys. I'm in the trenches every day just like you are. Like I'm working every day. I've got crazy clients too. I've got days where I don't want to be at work and
Don't
i'm
get me
i'm
started.
tired. And I mean we all have those days, but
Don't get
that's
me
how
started. There
but
are
that's
so many
life.
people who are going to teach you or
Yeah.
coach you or whatever who haven't done the thing ever
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
They've never done it or they haven't done it in 15 years or whatever. Like those, I can't purchase something from you. You're going to teach me how to do something you've never done. I can't purchase that. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And leaders kind of lead from behind, as they say, right?
Yeah,
You've
for
already
sure.
done the thing.
Yeah, I'm never gonna, I always tell people like that's how I work. Like even me as being an educator, I don't teach things that I learned yesterday. Like I won't do that. Like I've been doing
It's not
nano for
ethical.
probably 5 years now, and I just launched my class like this year. My nano class, my beta testing is going this next month, and I'm doing three student.
Congrats.
I'm only doing 3 students. Thank you so much. Um, and I've done nano for years, and I just that's not how I roll. I'm not gonna go learn something on Tuesday and then on Thursday start a class. Even though I know a lot of shit, like I know a lot, I probably could do a class on Tuesday and then teach that class on Thursday. But am I going to do that? No, because it's not ethical, like you said. It's not ethical.
Right.
And for me, I'm not doing this to make $1 million and be, I'm not trying to like I hate those trainers that are just in it for money because they don't answer their questions, they don't
Yeah.
give you the support you need. They don't, they use the cheap shit for their classes and then they're using good stuff on their clients behind closed doors because they know that what they gave you was crap. I've been to those classes. I know. That's not me. That's never going to be me. So,
I agree. Okay, so final question. If you were starting your business right
mhm.
now in 2024, you
Yeah.
never had a client before, you just took the first class, what would be your first three moves?
Number one, most people don't know this. So you've got a DBA and a business name, doing business name, doing get your business name right. That is one of the most important things ever. I hate seeing browse by Jessica, browse by Alice,
Oh,
browse by get a good name that's going to stand out. Okay. That's number one. Number two is getting your website, getting a landing page where people know how to find you. Because again, social media, again, if you put browse by Jessica, browse by whatever, there's a million of those, so you got to be
right.
found. Then the next thing is going to be get a lawyer to help you with your financials. I know that sounds scary, but one of the biggest problems I had when I started my business was I didn't understand taxes and understand what write-offs were and what I needed and this and that and CPAs and if I'd have had someone kind of navigating those waters, I got in some hot water my first 2 years in business because I didn't do certain write-offs and I was audited and I owed like $20,000 in taxes. And
Gosh.
I'm like 22 years old and I'm like, I can't fucking pay $20,000. That's like more than my car is worth. I'm gonna like be poor. And I mean, I had to pay them off and it was such a big deal. So I would say website, getting your business name right, and then getting someone to help you with your financials. Those
So
are
all
like
that
the most
admin,
important things. Yeah. Most
all
important
that
things.
admin.
All that has to happen before you ever can get going in business because you can be a great artist, but if you don't have all your stuff where people can find you and have it done legally and have things done right, then you're in trouble. Making sure that
Yeah.
your laws that everything's under that roof. So
I agree. That's the scariest part. Honestly, that's what'll keep you up at night.
yeah,
If you're in total control over your skill set and what you put on someone's face,
yeah.
but you are not in control over what other people, other entities impose on your business. So it's
Oh,
important to have all that
what,
stuff
and
done.
actually, I'll say this again. And that audited stuff, by the way, I just got audited again recently, and I was like, why do I get audited again? I have a CPA, I do everything. They wanted my receipts, my actual receipts, not the receipts that you put like and scan and give to your CPA. So, business tip for you guys out there, keep your receipts, the physical receipt. I know that because you're like, well, I have a system where I put them in and I scan them and it goes to my CPA. They don't want that. They want the original. So I actually got audited again. I had to pay like over three grand, like not this last year, but the year before last, just because I was like, what is this? Like, what do you want? And they're like, I'm like, I sent all that. And they're like, no, you sent like the photocopies. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's the receipt. They're like, no, we want the original.
What if you have them?
Exactly. Well, I didn't have them. So guess what? I had to pay them. If I'd have
Oh,
had them, I could have sent those to them and then they would have taken those deductions off.
oh,
So yeah. So even see,
what a
even
nightmare.
I know it's a nightmare. So yeah, those are the kind of things you don't want to deal with because it's fun starting a business and like, oh, getting a logo and I'm going to be a professional and I'm going to be creative. But if you don't have all the background stuff taken care of first, it's never going to work.
You'll have to take care of it later, and that's going to be the harder time.
Absolutely, 100%. And you don't want to start your business name and then decide you're going to change it a year later and then have to redo everything again. That's
Yeah.
insane. So I say that one of the best things is getting someone to even help you with like pushing around a name for your business because one of the best advice that I ever had was because I had a website and I'll just say it really quickly because I know we're almost done. But I had a website called texasbeauty.biz. This is like my first website I ever did. I was like, girl, my mom built it for me. I was like, I'm going to be this Texas beauty person. And when I took this marketing class with this guy named Michael DeValis, and he's amazing. He's been with like Makeup Forever and Mac, and he's just huge in the makeup industry. And he was going through all these people's stuff, and he was asking, who is TexasBeauty.biz? And I was like, it's me. And he was like, what's your name? And I was like, Texas De La Rosa. And he goes, why is that not your business? That's what you're selling. You're not selling Texas. This could be blinds. This could be, this could be, shoes, Texas Beauty. What is that? And I was like, oh my God. And so it was some of the best advice ever was he was like, you have a name that is so like, he goes, this is profound. He's like, people are never going to forget Texas De La Rosa, but Texas
Sure won't.
Beauty, that could be anything. Texas Beauty could be anything. Could be a salon, could be a massage parlor, could be whatever. And I was like, okay. So I was like,
Well,
you're
it's
right.
sellable.
Yeah, it
You
is
can't sell
sellable.
Texas De La Rosa,
Yeah, but yeah, but I was like, you know what? You're right. So
but you can't buy Texas De La Rosa
no,
either.
you can't. You can't. You can't.
I'm gonna put that in the trailer.
There you go.
Well, Texas, if people don't want to buy you, but they want to learn from you, where can they find you?
They can find me if you go to my website, texasdelarosa.com. That has links to all my stuff where I'm at Glow Laser and Beauty. That's the med spa I work at for all my services. And then our school is Buda Cosmetic Institute. You can also go to glowlaserandbeauty.com or budacosmeticinstitute.com. You can also join my group Cosmetic Touch Professionals if you're not on there as well. I'm very easy to find. You can Google me. Texas De La Rosa is pretty easy to find. So you can find me anywhere there. And yeah.
Is it I'm gonna put this all I'll link all of that for you guys in the description, but is it Texas Del La Rosa or is it Texas DE
So
La Rosa?
my last name is a little bit interesting because there's a lot of De La Rosas with a capital D, capital L. Mine is Della Rosa, D,
One word.
capital D, E-L-A, capital R-O-S-A. So Della and Rosa. So Texas Della Rosa.
That's going to be so much easier for you to Google now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time with the plumber and everything else going on, Texas. I really appreciate it. And
I
I would love to have
know.
you back anytime you want to. And we're going to meet at SPCP.
Yes, we are. This was so much fun. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate our chat. I hope that everyone enjoys it. If you ever want me back on, you know how to get a hold of me. All
Thanks. All right, my friend. I will see you soon.
right, sounds good. Y'all have a great day.